Welcome to this episode of the Conspiracy Cast right here on Tales of Earth, a show where we sit down, we three universal experts. I'm just claiming it. We're just experts on everything now.
All right. We went from not an expert at all to we are legitimate sources.
Yeah.
We're insiders.
We are insiders.
We discuss a conspiracy of some kind. Then we decide, man, it's actually the glare on my glasses is like ruining my eyesight right now.
I'd say, some weird pausing in there.
Then we decide whether or not we believe it and why. I tried to hide the pause as like a dramatic pause.
The conspiracy is he actually rehearsed
Shatner.
This and he's trying to remember because he can't see.
That's fair.
He's blind. That's the
we
conspiracy.
do this live on twitch.tv/comicstorian every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
You can support us by subscribing to this channel. Please subscribe to the channel. When we hit 100,000 subs, we will get Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd on the show.
Someone named Dan Aykroyd.
So you can also support us by finding some Tales of Earth merchandise through the link below. You can also go to patreon.com/comicstorian where you can get early access to this show as well as other shows.
Also, make sure your friends get merchandise as well so you can match like Andy and myself.
Yeah.
As we always do.
You can find our other show, We Two Illuminati. It's like my two dads kind of sitcom. Which should be a show. I'm kidding. No, you can't find it. It doesn't exist. It should exist.
Everybody loves Illuminati.
That's what we'll call
Everybody
it, right?
loves the Illuminati.
The thing is, it's two guys who are both in secret societies, different secret. Oh no, they're in the same secret society and they don't realize it. So they're trying to keep it secret from one another.
So it's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Kinda,
But
more like
secret
comedy.
but more comedy.
Yeah, less
and
sex.
And better.
And better. It was not a great movie. No, it wasn't a great movie. So today we have with us
Glorp Andy.
Glorp Andy.
How you doing?
Or Primal Andy,
Or
as
Primal.
he is now known.
Yes.
Where can they find you, Primal Andy?
You can find me on For I Am the Andy. I glorp a lot of stuff.
Okay.
You can find me glorping over on Dan T Producer on Twitter and Instagram and Dan T Streamer on Twitch.
Glorp, yeah.
Oh, Glorp. You can find me, Glorp Gary, over on Film Circuit on YouTube, at Film Circuit on YouTube. Film Circuit on Twitter, at Twitter. Northward Films on Instagram.
You are glorped up right now.
Yeah,
Jesus.
geez.
I'm glorped up.
Calm the glorp down.
Now.
It's getting a little too primal over here.
I can honestly tell you that the world is in a strange place about the existence of alien life.
You could have stopped at the world is at a strange place.
It's in a strange
but
place,
yes,
yeah.
especially with aliens.
There's never been a perfect time in the world. I actually despise that kind of thinking that like, well, things were better back in the 40s. Yeah, with Jim Crow law.
Nah, they really weren't.
No, it wasn't really better.
It depends on who you were.
For
a very small select few,
that's been
great.
but that's been history.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
life was
realistically,
great,
yes, yeah.
depending on where you lived and where so the
Plus,
world.
a lot of people also say life was much better when I was a child. Well, no shit.
You were a child.
You were a child.
Yeah, but life was a lot better when I was a child.
A lot better.
Nobody wanted mortgage money from me.
Ask your parents how the 70s were.
I got money each week for doing nothing, just washing dishes.
It was great. I was playing in the woods while Dad was in line to get gas for like an hour. Yeah. So, the world is in this really weird place when it comes to the existence of aliens, both in terms of opinion and in just fact.
Right.
So I remember growing up, the general attitude about the existence of aliens was, why would you ask a question like that? That's so weird.
Right.
Basically, if you kind of probed that question, you got a lot of strange looks. You were kind of on the fringe.
Yes.
Nowadays, it seems to be normal to ask the question. It's pretty common.
It's almost not normal if you
if you haven't thought about it or talked
if
about it.
someone's
Right.
like, what do you think of aliens? And you're like, aliens? What is that?
Yes.
We should build a space wall.
Because that won't go poorly. We kind of need the sun.
No,
As long as it's not reflective, gets hit by an asteroid and turns and
unless
just
the space wall is like a Dyson sphere, in which case, that's a great idea. Yeah,
That's what I was totally thinking about.
We'll close ourselves off from the rest of the universe.
We'll just put a little food dye in our atmosphere and it'll just coat. And then it'll be a wall.
Little food dye.
Yeah.
Keep going,
try
Gary.
that.
Just
Keep
keep
trying
going,
that.
Gary.
Some
Did you
say
not know that? It's a part of
Some
high school
say
science.
some say aliens exist. Some say they don't. And then, which is actually becoming less and less common. People that say they don't exist. One of my parents, when I grew up, actually was in that camp. Like, nope, aliens don't exist. This is it. We're it. Like,
The entire galaxy, the entire universe,
yes.
the entirety
Oh, yeah.
of all creation.
That was pretty much the attitude.
us.
Were they
Us.
like
Me
super,
lonely.
super serious, or were they kind of paranoid in the sense of like Benny when it comes to lizard people?
Oh, that's
I'd say that's pretty serious too. Not
Well,
paranoid. No.
There's the serious, and then there's the overly paranoid.
like, no, I don't
serious.
believe they exist, or no, I don't want them to exist.
Exactly,
because-
that kind
Please stop talking about this.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. Stop
No, it was
exposing
more.
my
It was more
race.
like, no, though it's impossible. We're it. And there are others that are just
I feel like
okay.
It's a very lonely thought process.
It is. It
To-
is a
like
very
in
lonely
all
thought
of known
process.
creation.
They say that, and then they walk home. One.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to think that out of all creation,
happy about
all
it.
the
Yeah.
infinite worlds and
Yes.
galaxies and whatnot, like, to
When
think
you
that
also
we're
talk about
literally-
parallel universes.
Yeah, like to think that we're
dimensions,
literally the only life out here.
to have
Right.
ever
Yeah,
existed.
yeah, like that's kind of
It's
a lonely
absurd.
thought.
There was actually a study done on I can't remember which planet it was, but they basically discovered an exoplanet that might actually be more hospitable to life than even the Earth is.
Really?
Yeah. So we might actually end up finding a world that, believe it or not, has more life and more varieties of life than the Earth, which is hard to imagine.
Well,
Yeah.
more to our concept
Yes,
of life.
that is true. But
Because
it's
that's
still-
always something people say
Yes.
is it's like, oh man, it's habitable, a habitable planet,
habitable.
and it's
Yeah.
like, well, for us, yes, but
Right.
we don't know about that one species
there
that
are
can't
theories on that.
survive
Yes.
without the vacuum of space.
Right. Tardigrades actually can survive in space as well.
I don't know.
I
if
don't know
that's
if that
from
is.
a show.
Water bears.
Water bears.
They're also called water bears. So do you remember?
Is that like
So they're
water
really
So
warm.
do you remember in Ant-Man when he
polar
goes
bears?
like subatomic?
Yes.
And he's like, watch out for the tardigrade fields. Those like bear things that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
Those are
yeah.
real things. Those actually exist.
Yeah.
And they can survive.
The like naked mole rat looking.
Kind of. Yeah.
things?
Yeah, but
those
like
are real things.
microscopic,
They can survive pretty much anywhere.
Really?
Yeah. They can even like dehydrate themselves, and then once you put them
so can I.
back in water, well, yeah. I mean, you're not special.
I mean, I
could
do that most
Yeah.
days, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like habitable for human life, like life that looks like us,
Yeah,
behaves
yeah.
like us. Because there are a lot of theories on,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Not carbon-based life form, but why can I not think of it? Silicon-based life forms.
Yes.
So yeah, life could exist in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Life
Spaceborne life. I mean,
finds a way.
life finds a way.
Anyway, keep going, Gary.
Also, somebody we will have on the show when we hit 1 million
That would be
subscribers.
awesome.
Yes.
We should have them both, Jeff Goldblum and Dan Aykroyd,
on the same
at the
show.
same time.
And then no one will want us back because they'll just want
They
Jeff
just take
Goldblum.
the whole podcast.
Yes.
I'd be fine with that,
I
honestly.
can imagine Jeff Goldblum getting here just being kind of confused as to like what's going on.
But like super polite
I was
about
told
it.
Really
this was a
polite about it.
Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
Foundation job.
yeah. And now I'm just wishing that I wasn't
the
here.
Reverse Benjamin Button. Please do
He's
this
like-
podcast.
Oh my god.
Dylan, take that.
Here's
part
my
out.
wish that I wouldn't be here anymore.
Was that your Jeff Goldblum?
That was I do a terrible.
no,
Jeff
that was
Goldblum.
good. That was,
Yeah.
that was good. Keep
That
going.
was-
He always kind of puts his hand
He
up.
does,
and
yeah.
just
He
like
does.
thinks. Okay.
Looks like
and
he's
then
like holding
they're-
a glass of wine a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, and he like
Like-
laughs at himself. Let's just talk about Jeff Goldblum
Yeah,
for
the
the
whole
entire
show. I don't
episode.
think- yeah.
So
Habitable planets for Jeff Goldblum.
yeah, he's pretty much like
Are
a
out
universal
there.
guy crush, right? Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Okay, so and there are others. Going back to our main point.
Yes.
Who are just okay with the fact that we don't know. They're just okay with it. Like, yeah, we don't know. Now, I find the entire worlds. This is kind of this episode is really my take on
Right.
on the existence of aliens
And the belief of them.
the belief of them,
Yeah.
and just this weird place we're in as a planet when it comes to
Right.
the existence of aliens, because you have people who are okay with not knowing, which I don't understand. You have
The
people
ignorance is bliss people.
ignorance is bliss. They
essentially.
just don't care. Like, how can you not ask and beg the question? Do aliens exist?
I will give them credit because when it comes down to it, what does it do to them?
Honestly,
what
I was
is
gonna say,
existing
yeah,
or not
'cause, I mean,
existing? How does that affect their life?
Which I
and-
understand, but that's also the like, if it doesn't affect me, why would I care?
Oh, I know a lot of people
attitude.
like that.
Yes. which I don't. I think you actually care more than you're willing to admit.
It's possible.
Yes. But especially when it comes to mysteries. Are we alone in the universe? It's one of the biggest questions humans have ever asked. And to not be okay with having an answer on either side.
But see, I guess I kind of fall into that camp. Because while, yes, I do believe that there's most likely some form of life out in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Or the universe. Or
but creation. My point is, you've asked the question.
Right. But if I never find out the answer, it won't affect me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dedicating my life to the study of
crying yourself to sleep
alien
because
life form.
You're essentially a part of this group, except the difference is you go, there might be.
I do believe there is.
Yeah.
But
my objection is that it's the people who don't even care to ask the question.
Sure. Okay.
They don't care either way. Why would who cares? Why would I even ask that question? And then you have certain government agencies who have admitted we've had encounters with alien craft, or we think we've had encounters with alien craft. And you have other governments, our own, who just avoid the question altogether. Aliens don't exist. And so we're in this place in our world today, and I believe someday we will know definitively either way. We're just in this place where it is just flat out a mystery. And I actually find that to be interesting, and I'll get to why.
You'll get there, folks. Don't worry.
So I'm not talking about alien life in general. What I'm talking about is like actual intelligent.
Sure. Not bacteria on another
not bacterial,
planet, but like actual.
Yeah. Highly intelligent life.
Yeah.
And so why are our skies not just quiet but silent? I think is maybe the question. I
still maintain we're like the bad neighborhood
that nobody wants to go to.
That nobody wants to stop in.
What if...
Like, unless you're about to run out of gas.
Yeah.
And you have to.
What if chemtrails were actually alien repellent?
Oh.
And that's the reason
like
why they have
mosquitoes.
not come back. Exactly.
Quick, spray some alien repellent in the atmosphere.
Oh no, what did they spray?
We heard something out there. Just quickly.
Just a real quick one.
Oh man.
Just do a quick once over.
What are Daxamites allergic to? Isn't it like
I believe it's not lead.
It's not lead.
It's
copper.
No.
No, it is another form of metal.
Yeah. It's basically like that.
Yeah.
Tin.
It might be something like it's something funny.
I'm just guessing random metals.
Yeah.
Because what I find interesting about all this is that UFO sightings, so as our ability to share information, our ability to gain information increases as we continue to explore space, UFO sightings are down. Abduction claims are down. Encounter claims are almost non-existent, which I find very strange.
We're spraying repellent.
You don't even get a story of like, I was walking through my house and suddenly there was this alien. And you got the like, stand there and stare at each other for a second.
He's out of the fridge.
It's like a beer.
You go about your business, I'll go about mine. Don't abduct me.
Glorp.
All right, everybody. See you later.
So my opinion is, the reason I'm bringing this up is I think there is something very suspicious going on. Because this is one of the objections that a lot of scientists have when it comes to the existence of aliens, is that statistics and the math shows that our galaxy should be filled and teeming with life. That we should have, at some point within the past couple of centuries, encountered alien life, intelligent alien life. But we seem to have nothing. Either that's a conspiracy and something strange is going on, or there's just no life out there.
I mean, it's possible.
Or there is life out there, but they also have not learned to leave their galaxy.
I mean,
Because
also
that's one theory. That's one theory.
Because if you think about it,
we
the
all kind of
size-
evolve at the same rate.
Exactly, and it's like if you've ever seen those size comparison charts of what we do know about like the Milky Way versus the size of what we
Outside of the Milky
we know
Way,
around that, that is a huge amount of space. And if we can't get out there, like we always think about it as clearly if there's aliens out there, they're more advanced than us.
Sure.
Like, for some reason, whenever we think aliens,
They
is
always
our first
generally,
thought.
are more advanced
exactly.
than
And
us.
it's like, well, what if there is another race or another species out there that are either less advanced than us or the same amount of advanced, or they are more advanced, but they still haven't reached that capacity.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that always brings up the question of what would make them more advanced than us. Because technically, the universe started with the Big Bang.
Right.
So we evolved at a certain rate.
This universe.
Exactly. Like what says that these other planets that are also very
Evolved
similar.
more quickly than us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if it is so similar to Earth, you would just assume, well, it would go in this direction. Yes, it would be in a different direction because, well, their continents are different. Their worldly resources may be different. But maybe that would hinder them and stuff like that.
Well, because if you look at like sci-fi in general, like movies, novels, comics, whatever, it's you always have two camps. It's like we either meet an alien race that is so far superior technologically than us, or we show up on a planet and it's a bunch of primitives.
Yeah.
Like there's no middle ground where we show
never
up
meet
and everybody else is like
yeah.
in jeans and a t-shirt, like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
You know, it's always you have one or the other.
Yeah, because the only time you see that, I think of the Orville. But that's when we are in the future, but then they come back and it's essentially
You mean the upvote,
Reddit controls
the upvote,
the-
downvote? Yeah, that was brilliant.
great episode.
No, it's true. It's true. Like, why? What's to stop us from discovering an alien planet where the people are in like a 21st century type existence?
How weird would that be? We show up on another planet and they've got like a Prius or like their version of a Prius. They're like,
what is that noise?
Here's my UFO.
Yeah, UFO. Yes. This is what we call pop music. I don't like it.
allow us to introduce you to our world.
And instead of numbers, it's the AEIOU phones.
Yeah.
And
The
then
vowel.
they ran out and they're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
sometimes Y, so we got the Y phone too. No?
That would actually be really funny.
Anyway,
Good
so
on
what
that.
we're basically talking about is something called the Fermi Paradox.
The what?
The Fermi Paradox.
Can you spell that for me?
Fermi.
Okay.
Fermi,
So
I
very
barely know
different
you.
than I was going to
What?
spell.
I said Fermi, I barely know you.
The Fermi Paradox, named after the Italian-American physicist Enrico Fermi, is the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence for extraterrestrial civilizations elsewhere in the Milky Way galaxy and high estimates of their probability, such as that results from optimistic choices of parameters in the Drake equation. The Drake equation basically is, because I'm not going to go into full detail on the Drake equation because it is a lot of math and I'm not good at math.
Me no math.
Is basically that this idea that when you kind of tally up all the different factors that go into intelligent life, the existence of life, the probability of life, a planet's resources, its distance from the sun, all this stuff, you get this number that tells you, based on the size of our galaxy, the number of stars we think are in our galaxy, this should be the number of civilizations that could exist. It's not saying that they do exist. It's what it's saying is statistically, this could be
possible.
what we're looking at.
Right.
And the Fermi Paradox looks at that and says, then why haven't we encountered, if life is that abundant, intelligent life is that abundant or possible in our galaxy, just in our galaxy, not in our universe, then why haven't we encountered aliens? Which leads to another paradox. Have we already, and it's just being covered up,
Right.
or we're
Possible.
talking ourselves out of it because
Right.
we aren't ready yet. We're not ready to believe. We don't want to believe yet. Thoughts on that? Life should be abundant in the galaxy. Should be abundant. That's what the math is saying.
That's all. It circles back to what I was just saying, because we always think that why haven't we gone out? What's
our
we
problem?
Always, exactly. Like we always think it's
Why
the
aren't they coming to
conundrum of
us? Yeah.
well, why haven't they texted me first?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, why don't you text them?
Right.
Like,
We should send the aliens a text.
exactly.
What up?
Here's my only thing too. Like, why you up?
You
They respond, new phone, who dis?
get new phone. Who dis?
New galaxy. Who dis? Here would be my only argument
Okay.
against we have encountered alien life. Not saying that, or I would say argument. I guess maybe that someone's covering it up. Is let's say we did have a Roswell crash, right?
All right. So under the assumptions, okay,
that aliens actually crashed at Roswell. So let's say we found a new planet that might have human life on, or intelligent life on it, and we sent a ship to it, and then we lost complete contact. Odds are good we would send a second mission to try to discover what happened to the first mission. It's in tons of movies. But you got to assume
almost all
Right,
At
what
a
happens?
minimum, we would
Yeah.
send something to like
It's
try to see it from orbit of whatever
scientific
planet.
method.
Yeah.
Like you test a hypothesis, it doesn't work. You test another one.
So we lose that second
similar,
mission, maybe
right.
not send a third. But who knows? These are getting expensive.
let's maybe not let's not man them this time. Let's just
maybe
see
a
if they
drone
can
or
get
something.
there.
But let's say we send a second a mission to find out what happened to the first. So if an alien craft did crash at
I can
Roswell,
imagine that mission. Just a second. You're like, so somebody recruits you to be a part of this top secret
Sure.
mission. You're like, yeah, this is Interstellar 15.
wait,
So what's our
second?
mission? To investigate the other 14 missing.
Like, keep losing them. I don't know. It's really
So keep
strange.
going, keep
You got a
going.
bunch of frightening images right at the end.
Just
Tentacle
heard a lot of
monsters.
screaming
and
and then
then
it just cut
gunfire.
off.
We're not even sure why they had guns in space, honestly.
Yeah.
No, but so like, why wouldn't if whoever sent those crafts, unless they were just like on a vacation, like why didn't a much larger craft show up? Like,
Right.
let's say we've shot down a couple of alien crafts.
Why haven't we had a good talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop shooting down our
if these
reconnaissance
people
yeah.
have, unless they don't have what we would consider some form of a military.
Right.
Like if we shot down a reconnaissance.
Which, according to some
Spacecraft.
documents, we've done several times.
Exactly. Why hasn't you know what? Send the battleship over there.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see what's going on with these people.
Or at least send one with guns.
No, I'm
yeah.
not saying we have not had an alien crash.
Right.
That would be my question. Okay, why hasn't a much bigger entity showed up to
Yeah.
hey, why do we keep
Right.
losing spaceships?
And the
Yeah.
other side to this too is that the fact that like all the evidence seems to be pointing to we have been visited, like we are currently being visited,
Yes.
aliens do exist, and yet there's still this like, oh, but it's all a mystery, which I think is what I'm trying to communicate is what's strange to me.
Right, about that.
Is
yes.
that we still have this like air of mystery about it.
Yeah.
When you add together all the different experiences people have had, government files, photographs, video.
Right.
I'd say that the likelihood that aliens are currently visiting us is pretty high, but we still have this confusion about it.
Well, the one thing about the sending multiple ships as well is, and I'm going to use a cartoon as an example, Invader Zim.
Oh, I was going to say, is it Futurama?
Oh, well, that too. No, but so like in Invader Zim, they are trying to invade the universe, and so they only send one ship to each planet.
Sure.
To test them out, and
Yeah.
they never send a new one. Like they literally only
Right,
send,
okay.
and so it's more of it's a numbers game. Who messages us back? We're going there.
Sure.
No message. Clearly, we don't want to mess with those guys.
Right.
Like, because that's the other thing is, if you do send a craft into enemy space, because let's be honest, if you don't know them, they are technically an enemy.
Sure.
And they
Not always, but
like
yeah.
it gets well, but like you see it and you're like, okay, well our ship got shot down,
Yes,
completely
that would
dismantled.
be, yeah.
Maybe let's just avoid that sector.
Sure.
Like, I mean, the universe is so big that what would make them want to come back? What
Right.
would make them go, okay, so he got killed. Let's try and send someone else. Like, there's not much of a reason to send
Right.
people here, especially if they're more advanced than us.
Right.
Or maybe they're getting more advanced now so that
I
they
was
can
gonna say,
come back
the
with
other
a
thing
battleship
could be
that
like
they
it
know
took
what
them
they're dealing
forever to
with.
get here the first time,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's one of those things where it takes the signal so long to get to the,
Yeah.
which I think they use in that second awful Independence Day movie where it's like the distress signal from the alien fleet like took whatever amount of time it was like what 20 years or something like that
Yeah.
took to get to them, and then them to the bigger fleet to get to us,
Right.
which is why it took so long. So maybe it could
Or
be
a
something
single
like
female
that.
lawyer.
Or a
going
single
to,
female lawyer, exactly.
Yeah. Omicron Persei.
Lure of Omicron.
Okay.
Futurama.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But then the other one is like I'm using a bunch of comparisons here of once again like we have had people visit us and all of that. Earth 2, Superman.
Right.
He lands on Earth. The government takes him, and he is kept in an underground bunker. But that brings up the question of, well, that's from a dying planet. That's the only one.
Sure.
What
yeah.
if what if the crash in Roswell was also a dying
Superman.
planet? That was like the only one, and
awesome.
they captured him and they
Yeah,
have him
and that's it,
underground
yeah.
because what happens in Area 51 stays in Area 51.
That is true. I think I saw that on a T-shirt once.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in this
I think
great
you can
store
buy
that
it.
you can find a
Yeah.
link to down in the comments below.
Anyway.
Or in the description below. Damn, it's so close.
You suck.
So your take on it
Mm-hmm.
is what exactly? How can you summarize? Basically, that we have been visited. They've just
I think it's a there is possibility that we have been visited.
Okay.
There's possibility that we haven't, and I think it's hard to say where my stance is because yes, I believe that there's something out there. The universe is too big to not
Right.
believe that there's something out
Yeah.
there. Like that's way too say like what is it? Not selfish, but like full of yourself to be like, well, we're the only
Arrogant?
things that can
Arrogant,
thank you.
yeah,
Arrogant.
arrogant.
That's the word. Like I believe that there is stuff out there, but I do not believe that there is a reason for us to have had contact with them.
okay.
I think the concept of always the universe, like, well, they're more intelligent than us. That's always one that I just simply don't believe in. I honestly feel like everything evolves at a similar rate, depending on where you are, and like you just don't know the way that people advance. You don't know the way that other
Right.
societies advance,
Right,
or
right.
whether or not they care.
Sure.
Because like that's
that could
the
be
other
another
thing.
They
Like
just may not care.
they just are simply too arrogant to believe that there's life
Well, if
outside
you follow
their
any
planet.
science fiction at all, it's basically this desire for exploration is a human trait.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
every sci-fi.
Yeah,
It's always
that
like,
is
why
true.
don't you want to explore?
Yeah,
It's like humans explore everything.
I bet they have the ability to see us,
right.
like through some sort of alien technology, and they're like, man, I don't want to go visit those guys.
It's
Well,
weird.
currently, based on light, like the way light travels and like carries information, they would be looking at, depending on where they are, they could be looking at Earth from any stage in our history.
That is true. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they'd be like, well, that planet over there, they're clearly, obviously, if they don't understand how light works,
Right.
all they would see is like ancient Romans or
Right.
you know, people in
Right.
tents.
Just a bunch of
And
people
then-
screwing each other.
What the hell? We'll check it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Come back. Wait a second. They're all on this like square device that they keep holding now. Like all of them.
Yeah, they're all looking down.
So they're watching something called reality television.
Yes.
We're not visiting them.
Yes. They haven't discovered that it's scripted yet. So, okay. So I guess, so your position is that who's to say that we're not the more advanced one?
Yes.
And also who's
Which
to
I
say
would
they
agree
would
with.
even care?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the entire galaxy here. So out of the potentially thousands of contemporary
None of them
civilizations,
care.
none of them care because they're all watching reality TV.
It's possible.
Well, or they can't reach us,
they can't
or
reach us.
they have not advanced to go into space. Because
Yeah.
the other thing to always keep in mind is a lot of these planets, well, they've got different atmospheres. Some people, like we have
That's
a
true.
thinner atmosphere, sadly.
Who's to say they could even
that-
walk around here?
Exactly. Like there, we have a different gravity. We have all
Right.
this different stuff.
Right.
They might not even be capable of getting into space, even if they are incredibly advanced.
Yeah.
Maybe everything,
Like-
every kind of propellant they try to use.
That's because
almost
when
like
everybody
blows
Exactly.
them up.
when everybody thinks of aliens, we always think of something similar to us.
Oh,
Yes.
every time.
It's all
Similar
in our mind. Like if you look at any kind of
atmosphere,
science fiction, like John Carter or Mars, you go to Mars, they're just humans.
Yep.
Although oddly enough, they lay eggs, but that's beside the point. But they're very
there's-
it's a humanoid
yeah.
species.
It's honestly always a humanoid something that they're like, let's
Something, yes.
like there's some
Yes.
there's clearly a different
Well, that's
animal
why
that
they,
they're
that's
like,
that's
that
why
lay
they use the
eggs.
classification humanoid.
Yeah.
It's always a classification, and then but you're
But
right.
yeah, I mean, there could be
Yeah.
alien life forms out there that it doesn't have the same capacity as us or anything like that.
And,
you know?
well,
Yeah.
actually, no, that brings up a really good question. So my objection to all this is that clearly, as far as we can tell, we're being visited pretty regularly by an alien intelligent
other
life
week.
every other week. Why? And our government is trying to tell us like, oh no, it's not real. They don't exist, and we don't know what it is. But you can
Right.
call it a UFO, but that just means that we don't know what it is. And so
Right,
they're,
right.
They're
Doesn't
not,
necessarily
they're not
mean
going to give
alien.
us.
We're
yeah,
still in negotiations,
which is true.
actually.
Which is true. Just because you don't know what that flying craft is doesn't mean it's from another world.
Sure.
UFO does not mean space; it just means unidentified.
We don't know what it is.
flying
It could be
object.
Russian. It could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
Chinese. It could be Indian. You don't know. I guess my question there is like, would the aliens really care that much about what our governments say? To the point where they themselves won't just reach out,
Don't just
and
show up,
announce it to the world.
Yeah, yeah,
say, hey,
yeah.
by the way, ignore your government. We're here. We've been here for 60 years, and we're sick of like being shot down.
See, yeah,
But
I mean that would be the other thing.
Can they communicate? I guess is the other question. Is our method of communication so vastly different from theirs that all they can do is watch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like possibly study us, trying to learn some way to communicate with
They
us.
just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I mean it's possible.
They aren't capable of making sounds like the people that just dance.
And their hands,
Futurama,
yeah, and their
once
hands,
again.
and their hands can't make sign language, so they can't.
Exactly.
Figure that
Like
out
I
either,
mean,
you know?
But that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's under the assumption that there's some form of a humanoid based life form,
Yeah.
whereas like it could be something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we stepped out of our ship, we'd implode.
Yeah, I mean it's possible.
It's true.
Because all of this is based off of our definition or our mindset of what intelligent life in the galaxy would look like.
Right.
And for humanity, it's something that would at least look something similar to us. Not necessarily humans, but, something that we could comprehend with our minds.
Mm-hmm.
And we would be able to speak to, or we would be able to understand what their version of a flying craft is. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like, it's all very much based off of our own self-images. So
what if ultimately when we do communicate with extraterrestrials, the only ones we actually end up teaming up with or communicating with are the ones that are like us.
Right.
And then you have this whole galaxy full of other life forms that are nothing like us at all. And there's just this barrier.
Yeah, I mean,
we just can't communicate.
And there could be other humanoid-based life forms out there that have the same problem as us. They can't get across the galaxy. They're not technologically advanced.
So it's the humanoid problem.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're limited by our own biology.
Yeah.
That's
Whereas
actually a good concept,
there could be other intelligent life forms out there that just they don't fit into what our mold is.
Right.
Of,
so
so maybe they're out there. But and then there's
that's a
other
good
humanoid-based
question.
ones
Really
going
good.
like, do you think we'll ever find intelligent life out there? You know, I mean, it could very well be happening.
Yeah. What do you think about? I just had a thought and I just about lost it.
Glorp, everybody.
Oh, for the love!
He's having a good
I
episode.
like to think.
Yeah, go ahead and talk.
I have many theories about it. I do believe there are intelligent life out there, but then I also like the idea, or I think it's an interesting idea that we were the intelligent life and we came to Earth at one point.
Yeah.
Right, and we just
a
forgot.
real Battlestar Galactica scenario.
Kind of, we were, whether it was Mars or some other place in another galaxy somewhere, and we had to vacate, and we ended up showing up on Earth, and lost
all of our
Homo
technology.
erectus were a bunch of actual Earthlings, and then we showed up, and we're like, man, we're kind of similar to them, but let's bash them in the head with a rock real fast, and we'll just take over.
Right.
Yeah.
Or what if like a bunch of aliens showed up like long ago, and they were like, they just had a syringe with something, and they went to a fish, and they were like, let's see what happens.
Well, that was
then
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
Yeah.
Those aliens showed up, and they basically seeded the planet so that we were born.
Yeah, because it's also because then it's also the revisiting and stuff like that. Well, what's a small time for them?
Sure, yeah.
Like, what's their life expectancy that to them coming, returning within 1,000 years.
No, we'll go back.
To them, it's a completely different period of time.
Yeah.
Or if they came back and was not in a galaxy where things rotated around stars in the way that it does here, they showed up in a spot and they're like, where the hell did it go? And we're on the other side of the sun, and they're like,
lost the Earth. I swear to guys, it was right here.
I promise you, it was
Yeah.
like super blue and green. Like, what the hell? Like, I promise.
So
they're
their
like,
orbiting pattern is very
glory.
is like the opening to what was it? Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
Everything's like.
It's actually they have a different movie. It's dude, where's my Earth?
Dude, where's my Earth?
I swear I left the planet right there.
I remember now.
There's a bunch of pink fleshy things on it.
I guess the other curiosity here is that what is it about the existence of alien life and the kind of the mysteries around that have people so preoccupied? Unlike anything else, unlike any other topic.
I would just say that's the mystery
academia,
of the unknown.
Yeah, just the mystery of the unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, there was an interest for a long time before we started actually traveling into the deep sea,
Right.
you know, what's under there? Like, are
Right.
there monsters?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
And then we kind of gave up on that one.
Kind
We
of gave
were
up,
like,
and they're like,
"Nah,
yeah,
it'll be
it's
Well, we
alright."
went down. We're like,
Yeah.
that's a big squid.
yeah.
Let's not do this
Yeah.
Saw one
anymore.
weird fish with like a
Which-
light bulb.
Which kind of confirmed some of the stories that ancient like sailors and fishermen had of these giant squid, you know, that
Right.
they just come
Yeah.
out of the ground or come out of the ground, come out of the water.
They actually
Squid and squid, which would
God,
be
that would be
frightening,
horrifying.
horrifying.
We just
yeah.
look outside. There's this giant tentacle.
Oh, jeez.
It's the land squids again.
Someone call animal control.
Yeah.
I guess.
What do we call it?
What do you
What
call
do you
about
call
this?
Squid Busters.
Thank you, Dan. That was amazing.
Thanks.
You show up with a shotgun.
welcome.
I got it.
So because of this, this kind of confusion that we all seem to be under, just as like a planet, like do aliens exist? We're all over the map with it, unlike anything else, actually, because it's not something that's generally scientific. Right now, it's still all theory.
Oh yeah.
There's this list. Yay, we love our lists here. 13 reasons.
Hold on, scroll up. I want to see that image again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Eleanor painted that the other day. I was like,
Well, that's not
"What?"
creepy.
Yeah, that's
She's like, Dad, look at my friends.
my friends.
It's just like black squiggles.
Yes. The government. Okay, so 13 reasons to believe aliens are real.
Okay.
Okay, I lean more toward this. The government literally just admitted it's taking UFOs seriously.
Which government?
The United States.
Okay.
Yes.
Anytime
Well,
an
earlier
American
you
is
were
talking about
mentioning
the
a.
government.
I thought you were
Oh, well,
mentioning
the
a
one world
different
government,
country.
of course. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
we were referring to that.
Yeah, the United States government. In 1952, a CIA group called the Psychological Strategy Board. I would love to see a list of all the different boards and groups and things in the government.
Lord, there's a lot of them in the
there's
army
a
too.
lot of them.
Oh my god.
Psychological Strategy Board concluded that when it came to UFOs, the American public was dangerously gullible and prone to hysterical mass behavior. I mean, you get that with like, just look at like a Taylor Swift concert or something. It's pretty much proof. The group recommended, or like just tell people that Arnold Schwarzenegger is in town and watch the chaos. The group recommended what?
He's the governor.
The group recommended, quote, debunking campaigns to tamper the public's interest in unexplained phenomena. But the government seemed to have been interested too. In December, so they want to debunk everything, but they're also like, yeah, but is there something to this? Which
Right.
I've always found really interesting. Like, we're going to tell the public it's not real. But is it?
Yeah.
Like, that's always the attitude. Like, but is it real? Like, every single time.
They're not real. Was that my line?
Was that my line?
that
That's
right?
right. We should be saying
They're
that,
not.
right? Oh, they are. Oh, I'm still on.
Never wear your mic when going to the
So,
bathroom.
but the government seems to have been interested too. In December, the Pentagon confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace. This is back in 2018. The Pentagon confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which I think we mentioned in a previous
I
episode.
believe so. Yeah.
Created in 2007. So created in 2007, just admitted its existence this last year by Senators Ted Stevens, who reported being chased by a mysterious object. You know it's real when like a senator claims something.
Yeah, they never lie.
Yeah, they never lie. Daniel
not at all.
Inouye, and then Majority Leader Harry Reid, and funded with $22 million of black money from the Department of Defense's budget. The program investigated black money. Just means like money that's set aside for
Stuff.
You can't really say, yeah. Or it's like really cool money that they print only for themselves.
Put squiggles on
The
this one.
numbers are in black.
Yes, it's black and
It's
silver.
kind of
money.
like your black credit or your,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
black credit card. Or whatever.
Budget.
Black
The
payments.
program investigated and evaluated reports of UFO sightings, many of which came from American service members. So that's reason number one. That's a long part of that article. I'm not going to go into that.
As an American service member,
Yes.
I have never been visited by any or seen any sort of strange sighting
That you know.
that I'm aware of,
Yeah.
that I can remember seeing.
I had a strange conversation with my brother once about it. So he was overseas. I think he was in Iraq, and his specialty was radar. So
Okay.
he was basically like a radar technician,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you should
yeah.
call that. So his job was literally to watch
Radar, yeah.
radar.
Right.
And I said, like, well, I asked him, I said, well, did you ever see anything that shouldn't have been on your radar? That just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't talk about that. And he like shook his head,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
So it could have been something, could have been nothing. But his answer was, I can't talk about it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But he confirmed that, yes, he saw things on the radar that either shouldn't have been there
Sure.
or just unexplained.
Yeah, yeah.
Or just weren't there.
Doesn't
And-
necessarily
yeah.
mean it was aliens, but
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Which, of course, my mind back then was like, it's aliens, isn't it? And I flipped the table and I stood up in the restaurant and I lost my mind.
For all we know, it was actually a stealth crew.
And then I said, I'm calling Dan Aykroyd.
Hey, Dan,
Hey, Dan.
can you come on my podcast and discuss this with me?
He's ghosting me now. I don't know why.
Bastard.
So, number 2, Harry Reid says, we're not taking them seriously enough.
Who's Harry Reid?
Well, he was one of the guys from the
Previous section of this
thing,
article.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So basically, he had an encounter with his dad out in Las Vegas one time. That's a questionable story. Yeah. Okay.
Clearly reliable. Reliable source.
Here's one. Scientists are suddenly much more bullish about the possibility of life out there. Just 30 years ago, we had not discovered a single planet outside our solar system. Actually discovered. We always believed there were planets.
Right, but we
Yeah,
weren't
yeah, yeah.
100% aware.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't actually point to one and say,
Right.
that's a planet. We had not discovered a single planet outside our solar system. Now we know of more than 3,000 of them, and we know nearly every star in the night sky has at least one planet in its orbit. Quote, even people who are not terribly interested in science know that we found that planets are as common as fire hydrants. Really interesting parallel.
That is a very interesting comparison.
They're
And when it's hot, you can knock one open.
They're everywhere, says Seth Shostak, the senior astronomer at the SETI Institute. 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 might be a planet similar to the Earth. That doesn't mean we'll ever find an exact replica of Earth. Actually, I would love that. An exact replica of Earth. But maybe we don't have to. Our
Circa
study-
like 1100.
Yeah.
It's an
like-
exact replica. Circa 1100.
It's all like volcanic. And,
Yeah.
It's an exact replica if this happened instead of this. And
Instead
for
of
some
this.
reason,
And if
the
it were
water was
bigger.
where the land and the land was where the water was, it would be the exact same.
Yeah, it's a little.
really small amount of water, actually.
That's true. It would be. But maybe
So
they
our
would
study
look
of other
that way.
planets and moons in the solar system shows us many worlds possess the ingredients necessary for life: an atmosphere, organic compounds, liquid water, and other necessities. So that actually brings me to this recent discovery from space.com. Well, it's not from space.com. They're covering them. So discovery: water vapor and likely clouds, rain too, found on a strange alien planet. This is the first time we've ever actually discovered water vapor on an alien world. In the same way that we find it on Earth.
Can we say that it is water vapor?
Yes.
They have
Definitively, it is water vapor.
They have been
Yes.
able to. Okay.
Which tells us, so this planet isn't much larger than the Earth. New study focuses on K218b. We're going to have to change that name someday.
I like it. It's solid.
Yeah. An exoplanet discovered in 2015 orbits a red dwarf star close enough to receive about the same amount of radiation from its star as Earth does from our sun. So it's in the habitable zone. And what we've discovered is water vapor. So water is in liquid form, vapor form. Yeah. So
Interesting.
that's like one of the, basically they're
How?
making a list of planets that might support life, which scientists are going to essentially zero in on.
Sure.
Like,
How-
this is what?
How are we able to get samples of it?
Not samples. So it's basically how the molecules in the atmosphere interact with the light from the star.
Because that right. But what kind of device were we using? Because in a way, if
Sciencey
they're
stuff.
like, because we always do refer to, well, we found this potentially habitable planet.
Mm-hmm.
What if it is habited and we are making first contact?
We might be. That's
possible.
the thing. That's why they want to focus on this, because the more we study these planets, so basically what you do is you look for planets in a solar system. Okay, we got planets. Okay, now let's look for planets that are in the habitable zone of that solar system.
Yep.
You narrow that down. Now let's look for chemical signs for potential life. And then you just keep narrowing it down. And what they're doing is they've narrowed it down to this one planet so far that has water vapor,
Yeah.
which is an incredible find. And then maybe we'll narrow it down to a planet that has like tectonic activity or
Bunch of people wandering
bunch of
around.
people, yeah, watching reality TV. So basically scientists are much, much more confident today than they've ever been on the potential for alien life. Number 4, they're especially bullish about these planets. Yeah, we just kind of talked to... Well, yeah, here's some. Proxima b, the closest exoplanet ever discovered, is also a potentially habitable world on its own right. TRAPPIST-1, the red dwarf at the center of this possesses a whopping 7 planets in its orbit, 3 of which reside in the Goldilocks zone, but all of which seem to possess some degree of potential habitability. LHS 1140b, Ross 128b, and Mars. Mars has water, and we've known since 2015. Although the planet looks like a barren wasteland these days, there's little reason to write off any chance we might find aliens residing in some cavern or crevice. And a few other
What if we found like an entire civilization who had to go underground, and we've just never found them up to this point?
Yeah.
Well, there are some potential photos that have been released from Mars that actually show like openings into the ground. Some people have even claimed like, hey, in this photo you can see somebody walking around, or like here's devices that
It's just like a guy like, hey,
I'm on TV.
Do you know where my cave is?
Yeah.
I got turned around at the big orange rock back there.
Yeah.
it all looks the same up here.
Number 5, and there is documentation. These are drawings claims people have had about.
For the record, the air quote or the quotes are actually in
Yes, yeah. In 2012, the photographer Stephen Hirsch asked UFO convention attendees who claim to have had personal contact with extraterrestrials to draw and describe their experiences. Here's a sampling below. So these are people's drawings of their encounters.
I just love that no
3
one that has
short
ever been
beings with wrinkly heads.
no one has ever encountered an alien that is also a good artist. That's what
That is true. Well, they also never have like a good camera on hand either. Yeah.
Well, usually you're paralyzed when you're abducted.
No, that's
so-
not true. What do you mean usually? How would you know? You've never been abducted, have you?
No, not that I know of.
That's the real reason he's got
Nope.
the fear of abductions.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit of ways on this channel, there's number 6, the asteroid that looks an awful lot like a rocket ship or space poop. The space poop asteroid, for those of you who may remember that.
Space
We
poop.
may have just seen an actual flying saucer when Oumuamua, the name means first messenger in Hawaiian, was discovered floating through the solar system in
Hawaii.
October because of where it was discovered.
Okay.
Oh, that does make sense.
It's like,
I was like, I don't know.
What should we name this? Well, I was in Hawaii last week. Let's name it something like
It was the observatory where they discovered it. It wasn't the Oumuamua.
Oh, okay.
It was in Hawaii, and
there.
floating through the solar system in October. SETI nuts immediately started checking the boxes that suggested the rod-shaped object might be an alien spacecraft of some kind. After all, it's the first interstellar object we've seen pass through the solar system. So that was actually groundbreaking.
What if, hypothetically, let's say intelligent life was like, listen, we can't figure out how to like, in light speed or anything like that. What if we just float everybody inside a giant hollow rock and launch that bastard into space?
But hold on, bear with me. Let's disguise
That's
it
great.
as a turd.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
What shape should it be?
Long
I'll be right
and
back.
rottish.
Yeah.
Guy coming out of the bathroom. Guys, I had a brilliant
I
idea.
got a brilliant idea. We're going to launch everybody in a giant rock. Number 7, these masters of the universe are obsessed. They are all also men. They are also all men.
What does
would
that
you
have to do
write
with
that?
anything?
Nothing, but people seem to think it has something to do with it. Basically, these are people that are obsessed with space and want to travel space. Elon Musk, Paul Allen, Yuri Milner, Jeff Bezos.
More like they only found
Franklin
men that
Antonio.
Because I can guarantee that there are women out
Yeah,
there.
let's not mention the female astronauts
Yeah.
and scientists
all-
who are obsessed with space.
It's all dudes.
That right there is one of those frustrating things where it's like, let's add a little bit
Yes.
of sexism. Just
Yeah. Let's trivialize the whole pursuit
Yeah.
because it's primarily pursued by one gender.
Is this Huffington Post?
No, it's called the Intelligencer. Number
that's my
8
code
as
name.
our
I prefer the intelligencist.
Number 8 as are some prominent military and government folks. So basically, people in the government are interested in alien.
No one ever brought up aliens to me.
That is a lot. This is a
volunteered to go to
long
space.
article.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that
Let's
would-
skip ahead here. 10. There have been enough well-known encounters to fill encyclopedias.
Encyclopedias.
Yeah, the Barney and Betty Hill abduction, which we talked about before. I think we've talked about a few of these. We even talked about the farmer who got abducted. claimed to have been abducted. Remember the farmer who like
Which one?
was forced to make love to?
Oh yeah. Genius. It's the easiest way to get out of an argument. Well, babe, I was abducted.
I was abducted. They told me to. The WOW signal from 1977. Which I believe, Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters. They're aliens. Yeah, they're aliens.
I could see that.
How do you come up with that many hits and not be an alien?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So the WOW signal was it was determined that it was actually because of a microwave that was opened before the timer went off. So,
right.
Yeah, microwave. Foo Fighters. In the middle of World War II, things took a mysterious turn for Air Force pilots flying overnight missions. They reported seeing lights chasing their aircraft. The number varied. Sometimes it was 1, other times 10, and so did the colors, red, orange, and green. But the unidentified objects shared in common that they moved very fast, up to 200 miles per hour, yet could dart on a dime. These pilots, among the world's best, admitted the objects generally flew circles around them. Their lore grew among the squadrons. In 1944, a crew flying along the Rhine in Germany described seeing 8 to 10 bright orange lights whiz by at high speed. Neither ground-controlled nor their own planes caught anything on radar, and when one pilot turned toward the lights, they reportedly disappeared. Yes. Phoenix Lights, the Warminster thing sounds British. Travis Walton's abduction also sounds British. The Battle of Los Angeles.
I won't lie. Before we get to that one, based off of the fire pilots and stuff, I'm curious if other nations' pilots also have they confirmed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
China's
because a lot of these I always look at and I'm like, okay, well, if we did that, who knows what the other people are doing, and if it was them, and
no, China,
testing out some sort of device to
scan
enemy aircraft.
Yeah, pilots all over the world have claimed things like this. It's not just Americans. China's actually also discovered like strange lights moving across the surface of the moon, which they've been very open about.
I've actually got a really strong laser pointer.
The Battle of Los Angeles on February 25th, 1942, reports filtered in of a glowing object floating over Culver City. Air raid sirens sounded. The Army proceeded to pepper it with 1,400 anti-aircraft shells. Eventually, it disappeared from view, but not before a citywide blackout was ordered. Shell fragments got lodged in surrounding buildings, and 5 civilians died. The Navy later explained it had been a weather balloon. It's always a weather balloon.
It's a big-ass weather balloon.
It's a weather balloon. Launch the missiles!
Yes, exactly.
Fire!
But ufologists suspected an alien spacecraft, which would explain why an hour's worth of heavy artillery had failed to eliminate a single weather balloon. Yeah. This is one of the more interesting stories.
This is this what that story, the movie's about? Like,
it was, the idea was based off of, because I think that's called Battle Los Angeles.
No, I'm thinking like Sector something or something.
Section 9. Not Section 9.
District 10?
District 9.
Yeah, that's
District 9.
District 9.
Yeah. Which was originally the Halo movie, which they scrapped and then just did District 9.
Which is a shame because
where the big spaceship just hovers over the city.
Yep. And then like the aliens live in the thing.
Yeah, and like a ghetto.
All right, 11, and continuing right up to the present day. New encounters happen all the time, even to famous people. Here, I want you to read this.
You want me to read it?
Yes. You seem to have the best reaction to it earlier.
Okay.
Just his quote.
Sure.
I want your best Guillermo del Toro.
I don't have a Guillermo del Toro impression. So new encounters happen all the time, even to famous people. When Guillermo del Toro spotted one in Guadalajara, I can't even say that. He says, it was so crappy. It was a flying saucer. So cliche with lights.
Thank you.
Welcome. That'd be me. It's just, it's so overdone. Like,
it's like, geez, have some originality.
A flying saucer. Very
Someone's
like, come on, guys, restraint. A little thing called restraint in your art form.
It's obviously crappy CGI.
And then there's a series of photos, but I love that Guillermo del Toro, of all people, encountered a UFO.
He's just like,
and critiqued it.
I could do it better.
I could do it better.
Honestly, I could come up with a more original design. I mean, he probably could.
But it'd be all like puppets and stuff.
But it would still be awesome.
It'd still be awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of photos which I can't show you guys right now because they're classified.
Although I have posted a few of these on the Tales of Earth Instagram account.
Oh, sweet.
Check it out. Subscribe.
Yeah. So just strange things in the sky, things that can't be explained. 12, we even have some pretty developed theories about why we haven't heard from ET yet. Number 1, the aliens are all dead. The saddest theory.
It is quite depressing.
I mean, it's possible.
They're all gone.
Imagine we do eventually get out there, we find all these inhabited or these worlds that would be capable of holding life, and we get there and it's just ruins of society.
Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
People.
Right. Or aliens come here and they're like, what the hell happened? Did they destroy their own planet?
What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, clearly not an intelligent life.
You guys use straws?
Hold on. Is that plastic?
In the galaxy decades ago.
Yeah, they have to be paper straws now.
Yeah,
it's like that scene in a movie when somebody finally gets to the party and like it's empty.
Hey,
oh
man.
And there's always like cups everywhere.
Yeah.
One sad
I
balloon.
finally made it. Yeah, one sad balloon.
Floating down.
Yeah, it's like, welcome to the party, 4 million BC.
Yeah.
That's like the date. Anyway.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The aliens are all sleeping. I've actually not heard. Okay, this is one theory
They're in
not
hibernation.
Sleeping.
They're sleeping, but maybe they're not dead, just hibernating.
What if they're in cryogenesis on the dark side of the moon?
That's a theory.
Or cryostasis. Sorry.
Cryogenesis.
I don't know.
So
What that
Transformers?
Yeah,
it's from
Transformers.
something.
Yeah. So maybe they're not dead, just hibernating. Another theory suggests that perhaps there's an extraterrestrial species out there that's so advanced it cannot efficiently make use of its technology right now. What?
That doesn't sound advanced.
Because he's like, I use this thing.
I can't use this. Let me wait time while we all sleep so
because-
no one can make it so we can use it.
It's an interesting thought.
Because the universe's temperature is currently too high. Good news, though, the universe's temperature is cooling down even as Earth's is heating up.
That's what it is. They haven't invented AC yet. So they're like...
They've invented everything else.
Yeah, but AC.
Not air conditioner.
Yeah, so they're like...
They've only got the window
God, it's so warm out. Let's just all go to sleep for a little while.
Theory number 4, the aliens are hiding. Even a genius like Stephen Hawking thought that aliens might destroy us if they were ever to find us. Then maybe we should be a little afraid. Perhaps the aliens think the same thing. That if they find us, they'll destroy us. So they've gone into...
we'll destroy them.
Okay. So they've gone into hiding.
All right, if we find them, we're going to have to kill them. I don't even know what to do about it.
Because the people over here. What do you want us to do? Kill him.
It's the prime directive.
It's the prime directive.
If you find a new alien intelligent life form, you kill it.
Shoot first, ask questions
That's the
later.
other debate. Is like, do you not have a soul? Do you not know that when we find other aliens, we kill them? Man, who raised you? Perhaps the aliens think the same thing. Oh yeah, so they have seen our movies.
No, that's what it is. Yeah, we have to kill them. They're very warmongering people.
If we don't, how will they know we're aliens? They watch all these movies.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
They
show up, blow up the White House.
They have a weapon. They have a weapon. Those humans have a weapon. They call it their Jeff Goldblum.
He can defeat any alien.
He can defeat any alien. If another civilization were technologically savvy enough and had enough resources, it could build a massive orbital structure like a Dyson sphere to keep it cloaked from detection. Or it might use high-powered lasers to provide an optical facade that keeps its planet from being detected by telescopic instruments.
Everyone,
Why did
quick.
you point at me when you said that?
You said your laser pointer skills were on point.
Everyone, quick. Cloak the planet.
Cloak the planet.
The Earthlings are looking at us again.
You see this like... I saw that. Right.
Some guy's like, Stu, I swear to God, there was a plane right there. 5 seconds.
Turns out they've been there the whole time.
What if the moon is actually a different planet?
The aliens are still evolving. Maybe alien life is actually everywhere. It's just not intelligent enough to speak with us. It took about 3.5 billion years of evolution to turn single-celled microbes into humans. Yep. Maybe we just happen to evolve faster and earlier than everyone else.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll be the technologically advanced aliens that show up and try to enslave the people.
Well, we would.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's human nature.
Another
Find
theory.
something new, either kill it or enslave it.
Or have sex with it.
Or
That's the Shatner approach. We call that the Shatner approach. Yes.
Everybody relax. I'm about to Shatner this bitch.
It's like, what should we do? What should we do? hold on. Let me go sleep with them first.
Yeah.
We'll figure
Then
this
we'll
out.
figure this out.
The aliens are like, yay, first contact. Never mind. They need to leave.
Why doesn't he have any pants on?
What is that weird
they-
dangly thing?
Yeah, it just must be their culture. I don't know.
This is how this
No, he's the only one. He's the only one not wearing pants. Okay. Humans haven't spent enough time looking.
It's just the group of people. And he's there
just
without
standing there.
pants.
It's like Zap Brannigan just.
Yes. Humans haven't spent enough time looking. This is a theory I actually really like. Realistically speaking, we've only had the proper equipment to search for aliens for a little over half a century.
Honestly, yeah. Everyone's like, why haven't we
Yes.
found them yet? Because we can't. We've only been looking for like 10 years.
Did you not see the Hubble telescope
Yeah,
image
yeah.
that like took like an inch of sky?
Yeah.
Blew it up.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also like,
That's
I
also,
mean, we've got other things that we need to do here.
well, it's also human nature. It's like, why haven't we found aliens yet? Well, we've only been looking for a little while. We should have found them by now.
We should have found him by now.
All right. It's
kinda
when
like
we
that
stop looking, that's when you're going to find
Futurama
them.
once again, when they're scouring space for God, and they're like, we've been at this for 30 years. How much have you done? 0.5% of the galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah, like
It's because there's a lot of
it's
space.
just like with my keys, though. The second we stop looking for aliens, that's when we'll find them.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
when they find us.
So the moment we like give up as a human race on finding aliens, they're gonna be
They'll,
like, hey,
they'll literally show up
surprise!
like the next day.
Like, hey guys, sorry it took so long.
Like,
Do you
oh,
remember
yeah.
what is it? Save the Day back in 1960.
yeah. We
Save
sent
the
guys
day.
to like say hello.
Yeah.
I never heard from them again, oddly enough.
You guys,
Are they here, by the way?
Are they here?
I thought we meant we
so
assumed
sad.
it was no
That's
news
so
is
sad.
good news.
Yeah. Thought they were just having fun and lost track of time. The aliens are already here. This is where the conspiracy theorists get to go nuts. Yes, maybe the aliens are already here and just haven't figured it out yet. They might be taking some time to study us before unveiling themselves, or maybe they have already let themselves be known to certain groups. The truth isn't out there, it's here. So maybe they've been here for a while. That's my take on the whole thing.
That they
Is
have
that
been
I
here
don't
for a
think
while.
there's actually any confusion or mystery to whether or not intelligent life exists elsewhere. I think they've been here.
Are you ready
They've been
for
making
this?
contact.
Oh, hit me.
And it's governments, it's people's desire to not believe
Right.
that has kept the truth from being just accepted.
All right, here's a conspiracy. Aliens are here. They are the ones that are in positions of power that are leading to climate change. And they are purposefully doing this so that our planet will transform or terraform
yeah.
For their
into
home world.
their living sustainability environment.
So they
And
walked
once,
up. They're
once
like,
the planet
"You
has
green
fully,
things.
yeah, exactly. Like they're like, it's not hot enough.
It's not hot enough.
Let's change
Too much
this. There's too
green.
much ice up the north side. I don't know why
See
they're
those
calling
giant
it
white
north.
bears? Like, what's the
Yeah.
point of that?
What's the
Exactly.
point of that?
They got
The-
these brown ones
yeah.
over here.
Yeah,
these
like,
half
yeah,
black,
yeah, I
half
don't get
white
that
ones.
one.
Like,
just
look
keep
at
falling.
that Amazon, the lungs of the earth. Yeah, we don't have lungs.
Yeah.
Who needs those?
But like, there's a conspiracy for you. Like,
Yeah.
they are attempting to terraform our planet so that they can come.
That
and
would be a
live
really
on our
scary
planet.
story, actually.
Conspiracy.
I mean- Conspiracy cast.
Conspiracy cast. So I guess in the time that it took us to get through all this information,
Space race.
my approach wasn't necessarily about like the confusion everybody's under. I think it's my question is like, why don't you believe yet?
Why doesn't the entire
Why-
Earth as a collective
right.
whole be like,
Just
oh yeah, there's
accept
totally
it.
aliens
For the
out
same,
Yeah.
actually, for the same reason that I don't think the entire Earth believes in the same God. I think that's a big portion
Okay.
to it.
Okay.
Because you're saying, well, why don't you have faith in this thing that we don't have any proof of yet?
That's my argument though, is that we keep convincing ourselves that we don't have proof, even though in my mind there's proof everywhere.
Exactly, but like that's the thing
Yeah.
is some
Other
people
people can
may not
see,
look
like,
at that and
yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah.
well, what makes you think that's proof?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, something crashed. Oh man, it was a weather balloon. Like that's the thing is I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of one
We
of those
sent a
ones
volley
where
of missiles into the air for a weather balloon.
exactly. But that's the
there. It was
thing
like a really
is
heavily armed
nothing.
weather balloon though.
But like even in that scenario, a skepticist could go, well, it was an enemy military
Vessel of some
or
kind,
something
yeah.
like.
Right.
We do not have definitive proof. Therefore, there are always those people that are going to go,
Okay.
well, I'm not going to believe what I can't see.
Sure. Right. But they're on the other side of the argument of like, well, why? How could you believe definitively?
But that's
and they're on the other side.
They're
Yeah.
in the agnostic.
Yeah.
Like if we're
Yeah.
referring to like,
like religious
kind of religious
terms,
terms,
religious
Yeah,
terms.
yeah,
there
yeah.
is people who are religious, the agnostics, and the atheists. And
Yeah.
I feel like with aliens, it's
They
actually
exist.
very, very
I don't
similar.
know if they exist. They don't exist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
or
I believe
or-
they're
pretty
out
much the
there,
same
but I
thing,
don't
yeah.
care.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I believe they could or they couldn't.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I feel like that's
Because
kind of the aspect
it's
because we don't
true.
have proof.
You can't say like, well, I found alien DNA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There it is.
Now, if one actually
Or-
showed up,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
and we killed it and then displayed it, like, no, seriously, look, it's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's
right there.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
I don't
See,
believe
he's
it.
even wearing
Was this
a
really the
high-
best greeting for them? I don't think it's the. Should we have done that? Like,
What? I mean, I immediately shot him
Yeah.
and then displayed
There-
his
yeah,
corpse.
it's like,
What's the problem?
I don't understand. I didn't know what it was, so I shot it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
granted, I was at Walmart, but
I was at Walmart, and he was asking. Yeah. So
But I feel like that
that is the
would
yeah.
probably
I
be
agree with
the
that.
best
Analogy.
analogy
Okay.
to explain why some people would believe.
and I have
some
met people who
wouldn't.
just like don't think about it,
Yeah.
and I'm of the camp that thinks like, well, how could you
could you
not
not
think
think about
How
it?
could you not think about this all the time?
How are you not terrified of being abducted every minute of every day?
Yeah. They're like, should I be? I'm like, no.
But not like abducted by people.
Yeah.
Not like abducted by terrorists or anything like that.
No,
Like abducted by
yeah.
aliens.
Abducted by aliens. That's a real threat. That's
Here's
That's
a weird
actually a
one.
real threat.
There
Real-
actually is another planet.
reality TV watching aliens.
The aliens did come here. People thought they were gods.
Well, that's
Also,
another
that's
theory.
the
Yeah, that's-
ancient
yeah,
aliens,
yeah,
like
yeah.
ancient
Like-
god theory.
Yeah, they came here, yeah.
And we were like, the heavenly beings came down and gave us roads.
Yeah.
That's legitimately that's one of the theories is the ancient ones because they weren't sure where they came from gave the Romans roads.
Yeah. They were like, "Hey, you see that? You see that ground?
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
put something flat there
Yeah.
and roll things across it. It's gonna be
That'd
great."
be me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if I
yeah.
ever came down as like an ancient being, I'd be like, guys, I'm about to blow your mind.
Beer.
And they're like, yeah, beer. I introduced whiskey to the Irish.
destroy their entire civilization.
They were
yeah.
actually quite advanced up to that point.
Yes. Actually, that's a good question. Let's answer that real fast. If you could go back in time and you could give ancient peoples, let's say you don't have to worry about the butterfly effect or anything.
Right. You could literally go back and give them something.
Yes, something from the modern age, not like iPhones, but like a how-to. What would it be? Whiskey to the Irish.
Whiskey just to see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I would give. I would give them fire.
Like, we got that.
Well, we have fire.
Was that from the Black Knight or
Yeah,
something? Yeah. Dan's really thinking hard about this one.
I am.
Wow.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to think what.
I come
Yeah.
down, my people. I have brought to you the AR-15 with a 30-round magazine.
See, I'm trying to think of. I'm
brought
trying
us
to
a
think
nail
of
stick.
something that you could take back, give to them, and they would actually be able to
Knowledge. Some kind of
like
knowledge.
replicate it in
exactly,
some way.
because it's like an iPhone. Well, they don't have Wi-Fi.
They wouldn't be
or
able to
any
do anything with that.
electricity.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like it's a
a
brick.
gun.
Great,
they
thanks.
have no metal or
No,
capability
yeah.
of making
Realistically,
it.
no.
Honestly,
So they
I
shoot,
think,
what is it, like 9 rounds, and then they're like, well, that was useless.
Yeah,
Oh, it's out.
Oh, it's out.
I can use it as a club.
Let's put a
I would
knife on the end of
honestly, I would introduce the concept of stackable houses, so like an apartment complex in
Okay.
a way, because I feel like that if they had learnt that early on, I feel like
They
we would
wouldn't
not
spread as
have-
much.
Exactly, I feel like we would have a lot more.
the concept of a modern
sustainability.
city.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
we also would not have to demolish nearby.
Forests,
Forests,
woodlands,
lakes, fields, stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I feel like we would have a lot more sustainability because of that. And that would be one that I could take back because they know how to build. This would just be the concept of you can build multiple on top of each other.
Right.
That would be what I would take.
Okay. Interesting. It's an AR-15. Your ideas are all like, let me cause chaos of some kind. It'll be
Here's
hilarious.
whiskey and a gun.
Yes.
Have fun.
I'll give you a shotgun and a bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Yes.
No, I mean, I honestly don't know what. Because I don't know a lot. This is the other thing.
I think personally,
yeah.
I'd bring back knowledge on how to like
I have another one. Sorry.
how to find and or make like purified water.
That's
I was gonna
exactly
say
what I was
something-
going to
yeah,
say.
Purify
something
your
like
water
that, like
because
has a-
the reason beer became so prominent was because they didn't really know how to purify water.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
drank beer because it was already sterile.
And it was fun.
It was fun. Do you want water or beer?
No,
Through a
no,
straw.
I don't want the water. I don't want to get sick. I'll just have a beer.
Yeah.
Yes. Here, little Mikey.
They also had cans for
Yeah.
some reason.
Here, little Mikey. Here's your beer.
Yeah,
With
I mean,
the-
yeah, honestly, like, because I've said that joke before where we're talking about going back in time, like, you know,
Yeah.
a Yankee in King Arthur's court. Like, I don't know enough, like,
No.
really technically
No,
to
yeah.
like
Right.
go
Yeah.
back in time and be like, yes, I
Shape-
created
shape
a
the
steam
modern
engine, no
world.
big
Yeah.
deal.
No.
Like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Unless I could bring back like an iPad that had like connection. Just, hold on, let me look up something.
Yeah.
Here's how you filter water. Hold on, I got it.
Steam engines for dummies.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, well, it just says to buy a Brita. Does anyone know where I could get a Brita around here?
This burrito.
All right. We should probably wrap it up.
Probably.
Yes.
All right. So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I can understand why some people would believe,
Okay.
wouldn't believe, don't care.
Yeah, I
any
mean, I
of the
get it,
different
yeah.
things, but personally, I believe, yes, there is something out there. No, do I 100% believe that they would be more advanced than us to be visiting us before us visiting them.
I believe that they don't want to communicate with us right now because they've already tried that and it hasn't gone well.
We shot him down.
So they're giving
Multiple
us
times.
yes. So or
we
we
tried.
like took
Yeah,
the
yeah,
information they gave us and like we just created gas like
Right.
whiskey and guns with it. Yeah.
Here's the secret to peace. Let's make a weapon out of it. Why did
Listen,
they do that?
Tesla made the peace.
If all your enemies are dead, it's a
Yes.
form of peace.
Yes.
This is true.
So that's my belief. Honestly, is that they have visited us. It hasn't gone well, so they're just kind of biding their time, waiting to come back, waiting for us to mature a little more.
Honestly, and
That's
because
not going to happen.
that's another theory is that there
Yep.
is these aliens are out there, but they're watching us, waiting us for us to be at the right time,
Right.
To
The common
enter
friends,
the
to
enter
become
the Commonwealth, and the-
discovering light
yeah,
speed
kind of thing.
or how to travel at
Yeah,
light
exactly.
speed.
I
Yeah,
don't
like
think that would. I don't think that it would. I know people like to point to like Star Trek and say like, well, first contact has to happen when we can discover how to travel interstellarly.
I don't
And
believe that would
I
be-
don't believe
yeah,
that would
not
be the
realistically.
standard.
Yeah,
I think
no.
there's a certain peace standard.
Yeah,
You know, like
like we're not going to
equality
show up.
and-
They're not going to show up, but we're
Right.
immediately going to try to shoot them down.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, well,
So they shouldn't show up to my how.
because you will.
I will.
Yeah. Just rummaging through your fridge. Like, what are you doing? Anyway.
Why are they always in my fridge?
Why are they always in your fridge?
Because you got the beer.
that's what it is.
It's the one thing we're more advanced with.
He's like falling out. He goes, we invented this, right?
Yeah. It's like, can I?
You know those home
So many
brewing
jokes. So many jokes there. Like, let's just go down for a visit. They have microbrews.
It's a new
It's a
thing.
new thing. All right. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Conspiracy Cast. I do apologize for my confusion at the beginning. I think I had two concepts in my mind
Of what the
that
show
were
was, yeah.
competing, and I was
Right.
trying to make sense of both of them, and they just weren't marrying. So let us know what you think. Why do you think there's so much tension and confusion on the topic, and where do you stand on the topic? So I guess it was an episode that had two questions to it.
Indeed.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today, and also I love the Illuminati.
Glorp everybody.
Glorp everybody.